People talk about once in a lifetime jobs. This was once in a century type opportunity.
Was my life. It's special. There's people from all over the world to come there and see this. It's not just like a little, regular church. It's people come here and see that, and even to this day when I go in there, I look up and it's like, whew, how did I do it?
This is the last major piece of internal embellishment that had to be finished to create a 100-year process for the church.
Logistics was, I would say, was 50% of the job. It was complicated. It was well thought out. It was stringent, but it worked out to our benefit. All the steel and material basically went through 2 doors that were 6 foot by 9 foot. We had to design for it. We couldn't have something too large that wouldn't fit through the opening to get it inside a building. We just had to take in consideration, you didn't want a piece of steel show up or something show up that we couldn't get in the building.
One of the church's requirements was to remain open for televised and public services throughout the entire process of creating this dome. So that meant we had to develop a elevated structural steel platform. This really creates the most unique aspect of this project.
So we came up with the whole aspect of, okay, there's a lot of high work that is really, you're high risk. So I said, what can we do about getting it closer to the ground and then picking it up? Which the majority of the heavy duty work was done on the ground. When we built the columns, they had a gusset, and they were 2-piece columns where we put the main truss in between it. That was 12 feet off the ground, which is a lot safer than 65 feet up in the air.
Building the platform close to the floor, it was safer for the men, and the logistics and the material handling was far safer. We had to develop a plan to design and erect a very complex steel platform that gave us a work platform 60 feet above the main floor, to design steel sections that were strong enough and heavy enough, yet small enough and slender enough to fit through the main original oak doors on the east transom to feed the center crossing. This particular project was unusual because we're talking about massive shapes. Some as heavy as 40,000 pounds had to be manipulated and moved without the assistance of a crane. That was one of the biggest challenges that we had was developing pre-existing material handling equipment technologies that really had never been used in this type of application. And one of those was air casters. Air casters is a very interesting material handling equipment methodology where you're able to place aluminum manifolds underneath an existing load, hook it up to an air compressor, and literally levitate the load a 1/4 inch off the floor, and with minimal manpower and effort float and push very heavy loads across the floor without damaging the existing floor. One of the other inventive things that we did on this project was we employed the technology of strand jacks. Strand jacks relied on 300-ton jacks at each one of the 4 columns that descended special steel cables that connected to our steel. And then we were literally able to lift the entire platform as one unit over the course of 8 hours. Once this platform was erected, we needed a method to get up to that platform. So we employed the use of the first construction elevator.
You can't get any dust in the church. So before we did any of that, we built the containment walls, ran ductwork, 4 exhaust units. were making so much dust. We could start sandblasting and you can't even see your hand in front of you. And this is a huge space. Well, you turn on the exhaust units, and within probably 35, 40 minutes, the space would clear out. I mean, we probably went through thousands of dollars of filters.
On a human level, the project was extremely successful, and not one person was hurt, and there were no accidents or damage to the building.
0 accidents.
The background color of the dome is primarily 24 karat gold Mosaic, which was all produced in Venice. We were given a special medal of accommodation for service to the church by Pope Francis, and this was the Benedetti Medal, which was a great honor and something I hold in really high esteem. And I feel very grateful to have been recognized by the Pope, and I think that's one of the most special things on a personal level that occurred in terms of recognition. It was just an incredibly busy, at times stressful process, but I'm just so grateful that it ended up without any accidents, no injuries, ahead of schedule, and the workmanship is just stunning.